Boom! Episode 320. How about that, Daniel?
320.
Oh no, I'm jazzed. I'm pumped. I'm something enthusiastic. We've got 3 messages that we usually intro with. We're actually, looking forward to automatic tags. Automatic tags based on department and job title. Or are we? We'll get into that. Teams, you can hide the general channel. We'll get into that too. In fact, it's all about getting into that because that's why we do the show. And so guess what? The third one we're going to get into as well is all about when you open up attachments in the new Outlook, if they're Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they'll open on your desktop application. This is episode 320. Let's go. And we went.
We went.
Yeah.
Hello,
let's
everyone.
Go, we went.
Welcome to, I don't know, I feel like, and maybe our regular listeners will feel this way too. If they're smart, they will. Anyway. Okay, I'm just joking. It's a joke. But I feel like you've made a bigger deal of the 320 episode because last week you were like, ooh, next week is 320. And you're, so what, because in the past, you've not wanted to make a big deal out of certain numbered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what is 320? What is
320 is 100 less than 420, and 420 is an important number.
Is it?
I don't know why. No, I don't think so. It's an important number to some people.
Great. We're gonna.
I don't know. I just felt like I needed to inject some energy. I know that it's kind of late where you are. You're in the Miami studio.
I am in the Miami studio, I'm just trying it out. Maybe I'll fly down here for the show from now on. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I quite
absolutely.
like how you've got the light. There's a spot behind, and it's just got your kind of aura halo thing. You should be a stained glass window, Daniel.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so hello everyone. Thank you for listening to our comedy. This week we do have. I'm interested in hearing our listeners' thoughts on some of these topics. So get ready to make comments down below if you're watching the video on YouTube. If you are an audio podcast listener, thank you. By the way, thank you. We've got hundreds, or thousands, or maybe tens of thousands. I don't know.
You got to boost it up, right?
We've got it quite a bit, and really appreciate it. So, how about you jumping on the socials at 365 MCS on all the socials that matter, and hit us up with your thoughts on some of these topics. I think some of these topics will be not controversial, but will leave your head scratching, kind of like leave you scratching your head. Like,
how did you do that? I was scratching my head just as you were saying that. It's like you projected it.
I did. I projected it. You read my mind. So, Daryl, how about we just kick this puppy off with
the phrase that I love to hear, Daniel.
With some tagging.
Yeah, starting with those tags. Sounds like an impressive feature. Definitely does. It is Microsoft Teams automatic tags. So tags being that you can add mention by department and job title. And that's MC711659. Tags, how they operate in a team, they're actually very useful for communicating with people inside a team, where we don't have to rely on people following or hiding channels or anything like that. But we can create these tags, add people to those tags, and we can mention them and they will get a notification. They can also be used for chat, can't they, Daniel? You can start a one-to-many chat, group chat. Yeah. So they have a great use. And this feature is all about adding people automatically to those tags based on their department and job title. So if you're, let's say, I have to think of a current example, and I don't need to name the client, but I can say it's in a hospital scenario. So as a frontline workforce, let's say orderlies, and we need to communicate with them, right? So we can go at orderlies and everyone gets that message.
Hmm.
It makes that noise too, by the way. It's an additional part of the of the feature. Now, I'll actually pause there, Daniel. I mentioned a frontline workforce, and that's what it does hint towards at the beginning of the message. Your frontline workers can reach each other by department or job title in Teams. Well, why frontline workforce? What do you think?
I think trying to make it. Well, this is about trying to make it easier to communicate. I feel like with people who you may not know in that department, or
Mm.
group them together, whatever, and reach out. But it feels like at the beginning, and I saw you read the title, and it's like, oh, this is really cool. It's going to do it for everybody, but it seems like it is just for frontline workers.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, we dug into this a bit deeper using the links. Thank you for the links in the message. Always appreciated. So there is a map attributes to in Teams Admin Center link at the bottom of the message. What you need to do to prepare. And if you go into that, you'll find that this is a feature. Actually, you go into that, and then you go and find another link inside that, which tells you what this feature relies on as a prerequisite. And it is relying on M365, F1, F3, E3, E5 licenses. And if you don't have those, you can get the, what is it called, the Entra ID P1. And that might sound familiar to those of you who have dynamic groups enabled in your organization. I think dynamic groups are great, very useful for this very thing. High turnover group, or maybe people that are quite fluid in their roles and departments. And so, yeah, good to have that. But that's what this feature is going to rely on. It's not something that you can necessarily use in any old organization unless you have the right licenses for it. So definitely going to be useful for that. But I guess some people might have read this and thought, oh, that'd be great for my organization too. But you need to make sure that you're licensed in the appropriate manner.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I'll just say too, I think so it is F1 and F3, but it's E3 and E5 for Microsoft 365 as well. So I mean, if you have those licenses, then maybe it is something available to you. So this is targeted to be rolling out mid-February, a couple of weeks' time. Expect to be complete late February, and for standard release late February and complete by late March. And moving into, I guess it's still related to grouping things, Daniel?
Maybe if that's kind of in the title. So yes, Microsoft 365 groups in Outlook. Users can now choose to switch to the new groups experience in Outlook on the web. Okay, so that's MC 711025. This is kind of related to something we talked about back in episode 275. So if you want to pause this, go back to 275 and listen to us talk about the new groups experience, then you can do that. But this is talking about the groups experience in Outlook on the web now, and saying you can switch to that new experience. And I feel like it is a good experience because, and let me tell you what I think you need to have at your fingertips when you're looking at groups. You need to know what groups you're a member of and what groups there are that you can join if that is something that can happen. But you need to be able to get to components of those groups, right? So groups have potential. Groups have mailboxes. They have SharePoint sites. They have calendars. All of those kind of components that a group can have, be able to get to those things, right? And I think this has taken it up a little bit, which is good. And you can see that in the first screenshot which is activity in your groups, right? So
Hmm.
it's even more of a kind of a good landing place to be, for you to look at what's going on in a group. So um, this is allowing your users to be able to kind of swap to that new experience, and it is optional, but you can go to the button and you can see it there in the screenshot. You can go to the icon for groups and be able to, easily consume the information about the groups that you're a member of and get to that content. Because I feel like I said that's important, right? To be able to get to the content. I feel like, I mean, that's the whole point of groups, right? Is to, group have things put together that is functional for a set of users, and they can get to it and easily and be able to
Hmm.
use it, and it's secured well. So anyway,
Hmm.
so it'll be on the, like I said, the left hand side, left navigation, and be able to go and once they select a group, you can see the content of the group, and quickly get from email and be able to click on the other apps as well. That is available to them. Daryl, do you use? How do you get to groups? How do you navigate around and get to your different groups?
Uh, uh, to be honest, I usually access them from the bottom of my folders view. So you've got folders within
Hmm.
your inbox, and they're usually down there at the bottom. And I
Hmm.
do still find them useful for when I want to provide a client an experience where they don't have to switch in and out of different tenants for Teams. Maybe they're an email heavy organization, so they would prefer to respond to emails, but I want that all to come back to a shared inbox internally, and I want to provide them a place for shared files, which is definitely a benefit.
Hmm.
So that's where I find it, Daniel. The icons down the side, I probably don't think to click in there and use them, but it's good to see that the home um, landing page is improved, and that they've also dressed up that landing page for when you've opened a group again.
Yeah. So if you switch, then just know that that space that Daryl just talked about, where he gets to his groups, goes away,
Mm.
and is replaced with a link saying go to new groups. And so you click that, and it takes you to this new experience. So if this message also, which is great, shows you if you want to switch back, here's how you do it. It'll be on that top right of the window, be able to switch back if you need that. So this is rolling out soon. This is going to be rolling out mid-February, so in a couple weeks ish, and expected to be completed by late March. So a bit of a rollout time. This says for standard release, so I'm not sure what that means. I don't. Generally speaking, when I only see one time frame, I'm assuming that it's just rolling out for everyone at the same time.
Mm.
But maybe target release gets it early. I don't know. They don't tell us. So um, I would rather this just say everyone or
Yeah,
whatever, so we're not having to guess
yeah,
when it is rolling out. So um, Daryl, we
yeah.
haven't. Let's get back to Teams. We spent some time in Outlook.
I
Let's
know.
go back to Teams.
I was getting a bit of that, like pets, how they get that owner anxiety and they're like worried, oh, my
Mm,
owner's not at home. I was feeling that way about not talking about Teams for 30 seconds or so. So now we can. Content camera on new Teams. EMC 710415. And when I say new Teams, it just makes me feel all special. Right. Not that you care, people. Uh, anyway, enough of that. Content camera. Did I try that out? Of course I did. What's the content camera again? When we have a camera that we can point to a whiteboard or a document, and we can use the share button in our meetings and choose content camera. That'll switch your camera off, and it'll use the camera that you've chosen to be your content camera. It might be one like this puppy that I sort of point towards the board, and it flattens it out. let's just put that down there. It flattens it out. So it recognizes the edges of the board, changes the perspective, and recognizes the whiteboard pens, and it sharpens it up. For documents, it does a similar kind of process, but one of the magic things it does, if we all remember, is I can kind of wander over the board, and if I've covered the ink, that's okay. It sort of stays there over the top of me, so I'm not covering what is written on the board. It does disappear a bit after it. But anyway, it has returned. It was not in New Teams. It is now in New Teams, available for us to use in Windows and Mac OS. There doesn't seem to be anything new in the feature. It is just, hey, remember this? So it is there. We do have some screenshots of how it works, so that's good to see anyway, and reminding you about how the feature works. And Daniel, I think that about, let's say, most of the way through the message, there's this quite fun one where someone's drawn on the desk and they use an overhead camera, and hopefully it's a whiteboard marker.
Well, that's just exactly what I thought was.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it wasn't a permanent marker. But
Yep.
would you do that? Would you have a desk? And maybe this is a comment. Hey, people, you're listening and watching. We'd love to know. Would you have a desk that's a whiteboard? And this harkens back. The first thing I thought when I thought that question was, do you remember? And maybe it's a stuff only here in the States, or I don't know. But people used to have these massive calendar
Yeah.
pieces of paper that
Yep.
took up most of their desk, and they would write things, on this. And so maybe that's a way. Maybe if the whole thing's a whiteboard, and you have a little section over here with a camera, and it's, I don't know. It feels like it's for a lot for trainers or educational type scenarios where you kind of need to explain more or whatever. But I've done it. I've actually used a tablet as my instead
Yeah.
of writing it and using a camera, I've used a tablet, shared the screen, and written on the tablet, as I'm talking. But so it's a great idea, and it's another feature coming to New Teams that was lacking. So it's good to see.
Yep. And let's see what happens to it in the future. But good to see it back. And it is rolling out beginning early February, which is, I'm on targeted release, so I can vouch for you. It is there in Windows and on Mac. Standard release and GCC to begin rolling out early March. Complete mid-March. GCC High rolling out mid-April, complete late April, DoD mid-May through to late May. And Daniel, let's get into this opening attachments in Outlook for Windows.
Okay, can do that. Open Word, Excel, and PowerPoint attachments directly in desktop apps in the new Microsoft Outlook for Windows, MC710412. Now, think back to the last time you were in Outlook and you clicked on an attachment and it opened up in preview. Okay? And let's be specific on Office documents now, because that's what we're talking about here. Did the document render correctly?
Perfectly.
I would say for me it's half and half. Half the time the document renders correctly, and I can see annotations and I can see, what the other half, it doesn't work. Because annotations actually don't work, in my opinion. They, if things are highlighted or there's, written things like signatures or something like that people have manually, but it doesn't show up in preview. Now, and so instead of making preview actually work, whether that's something they should have done or not, I'm not going to. But now, when you click on them, it's going to open up in the app. On the desktop. Now, I think that's good and bad. It's good in that what I just talked about, the preview it wasn't really a good full fidelity, and oftentimes I had to open up in the desktop app anyway. Preview, though, did give you an idea of what is this, right? If you
Mm.
didn't know what it was, you could actually look at it without having to download it and open it up in the desktop app. That's a good thing. That it's opening up in these apps. It's a bad thing though that now you're going to have to open up the apps. So it's it's more resources and it's going to take longer. There's a Word document, you want to preview it, and you click on it and you're like, oh rats! Now I got to wait for Word to load. And I mean, it's modern computers. I guess fine. You're only going to wait 5 seconds, but in preview, at least it opened up quickly, even if it wasn't full fidelity. So I think for me, I don't know. It doesn't say anything about whether or not they're going to allow. I would like for them to allow me to pick preview.
Mm.
Right. If I click on it, open up in the app, okay. But if having an option to preview it instead of opening it up so I can, take a peek.
Mm.
That's my thought, Daryl. What are your thoughts on this? Do you use the preview? You're on Mac, right? Like,
I'm on Mac and Windows. I've
okay,
used Windows at work and Mac in my
yeah.
personal life. I think I would like to see it offer the same options as Teams, where, like you say, you can choose the default. I would probably choose to open it not in the app previewer, but in the app online. So it opens up in a tab. I get to see it. Yeah, that's the one that I'm after. I can make a few changes if I need to, or I can download or rather open the full desktop experience. That's usually my workflow. I like to just quickly check on things
But
and then do it.
but if so the way I work is when I open up an attachment or
Oh,
click a link or something, it's the latest, browser
yeah.
profile that's been opened. So
Uh,
for that to work, it would have to be your work profile. Um,
yeah, that's right.
but
You're right. The
yeah,
other thing that I overlooked with that is this is talking about Outlook for Windows.
hmm
Yeah.
it is indeed.
Yeah, so there's no let's click on the attachment that is already downloaded on your machine and then
Unless it's
yeah.
unless it's one
Unless it's a
that's
link, right?
shared, right?
Yeah.
And unless it's a link, to a OneDrive
Hmm.
that someone shared with you. And wouldn't it be more efficient to preview it? But now they're just going to download it and open it for you, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just can't win them all.
I don't know. Well, actually, you can, Daryl,
Really?
because I want to hide the general channel in my team because I don't use it. And now I win, right?
Right.
Because I'm going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's right. So this message, MC711019. Yes, exactly that. Hide the general channel. There are some teams where you want to do that, where you are avoiding using the general channel because well, I can't think of a reason. So, no, like so, okay. Sometimes when people use it, because everyone sees the general channel, they get to see the message, and maybe, just use moderation if that's a problem. But yeah, you can hide the general channel and just use your custom channels or your channels that you've created, whether they be shared, private,
Can you
regular.
rename the general channel, Daryl?
No, why would
Okay,
you do
see,
that?
this is why I see a lot of people wanting to hide the general channel when they're not in every team,
They don't
not
like
in every team.
military.
No, not in every team. It is when they create a team for a specific purpose and they have
Mm,
all these channel names and it's
yep,
blah, 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 and then they got this general. It's like, well,
yep.
that doesn't apply to what I'm trying to do with this team. And they want to hide that general because they can't rename it. You can't do anything with it. So what do? Do you lock it down
Yep.
so that nobody can post to it,
Yep.
and then you just don't use it, and so it's
And
in
then
the
you're stuck
way.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why this is.
We can,
Not everybody's going to use this, but I think
yeah, yeah.
there are some reasons to use this.
Yep, yep. So there are, yep, some reasons to use it. There's one funny thing about this that they mention in the message. If general is the only channel in your team, and you hide general, you also hide the team. But then why are you using the team?
Well, you're not anymore.
No,
It's
you're
in your
not.
hidden teams
Yeah.
bucket.
Don't worry, if you mistakenly hid the general channel, you can get
Yep.
it back. It's just like unhiding a team. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're good. So for this wonderful feature, a targeted release will be rolling out early February. So if you get into it today if you really want to try it out. It's on,
Right.
it's off, it's general, it's not, it's hidden team, it's
Stop.
back again.
Stop.
Okay, stop. And standard release will begin rolling out mid-February 2024, complete mid-March. You may consider updating your training and documentation as appropriate. We need to say that at least once in the episode. This felt like the right place.
Okay.
That's the messages for the week.
It is, but Daryl, where can
Yes.
people find you? I oftentimes want to find you.
Yeah.
Can you be found in person anywhere?
In person. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to come
Other
to
than your
Auckland, New
house.
Zealand.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
No, but thank you for that lead in. It's often that we hear of Daniel's travels, and it's awesome that he can get around and see people in person and hand out stickers. I too will have the opportunity. Give me a moment. I'll find those
Oh, no.
stickers. I'm pretty sure they're in here somewhere.
okay, for the audio listeners, Daryl is looking in some drawer in the background,
Yes.
and he found the stickers. Yes. Those
Fill
are
that dead air, Daniel.
that is retro stickers. I mean, those
I
are
know.
classic. Those are the
Now,
classic
okay.
stickers.
Okay, maybe this is driving the point home here. And I know we're into sort of social time here. This is not message time, people. But if you know us, we're good buds. We've been doing this show for some time. We rarely
Way
get
too
to see
long.
each other in person. It was usually at Microsoft Ignite. The last time we got to see each other in person was 2019, where Daniel gave me a bunch of stickers and said, "Here, hand these out at any event that you go to." And then what happened?
I
For
jinxed
2 or
it
3 or
all.
4 years. Yeah, exactly. So, long story short, you got the long story. I'll put chapters in so you can skip it. I probably should have warned them beforehand. But yeah, the Digital Workplace Conference in New Zealand is going to be held in Christchurch. That is coming up in February 26th. There'll be a number of our international friends coming. Quite surprising, actually. Tracy Van der Scaife, Alice de Bourgeon.
Now you're going to
We've
list
got
a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
going to, totally, because, this is
Okay.
just me rubbing it in from all the, Mike Matarani. Anyway, yeah, quick mentions to those people and more.
and
Gonna
more.
throw that. Anyway, looking forward to that. So Kiwis and those who are making the trip or happen to be in New Zealand, looking forward to seeing you. Come get a sticker and come to the sessions. I'm also running a workshop there for Microsoft Loop. So yeah, check that out. But before that, Teams Nation. Still, online conference. It is back. A bunch of people talking at that too. And looking forward to delivering a session on OneNote or Loop. You decide.
OneNote. Oh, we're supposed to wait for the.
Yeah, I
session.
hadn't even finished the sentence, man. God. Quick off the mark. You're disqualified. All right.
Sorry.
Yep. But I can't hand her stickers at those ones. So, yeah, anyway. Thank you for that opportunity, Daniel. I've just been relishing, looking forward to that, actually seeing people in person. Wow.
And I get to see people in person this week because I'll be in Atlanta for the Sequel Saturday BI edition.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing. So be talking about updating Power BI reports with Power Automate. It's going to be fun. Co-speaking with Shabnam Watson, so that'll be fantastic. So yeah, so come see us, get stickers, and we'd love to have a conversation with you.
Of course. So,
Yeah.
next week. Oh, sorry, I can't make a big deal out of the number. Next week we have an episode. We'll see you then.
Yeah, it's probably episode one more than this episode.
One more than this one, but I won't
Yeah.
mention it.
But-
Bye, everyone.